Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and in today's journey through the star map, we're heading beyond the Perry line into the Rihlah system, into Xi'an space. Now, Rihlah, which is in the Xi'an language means source of strength, was initially established as an industrial system for the race. However, as there were tensions at the time with the human race, it was really created to become more of a major military staging area, and really an industrial zone for the war machine of the Xi'an forces. Now, war with the humans was so much of a concern that the Xi'an actually had two planets that were initially terraformed with the sole purpose of becoming militarized planets, containing things like barracks and training facilities and munitions plants. Xi'an leadership sort of envisioned this being the forefront of the war with the humans if it ever ended up coming to that. As relationships with the humans became better, though, and much like the humans did in the Castor system, the Xi'an ended up withdrawing the majority of their forces, and it really became a hub of trade and relationship management, benefiting both of the powers. Now, Rihlah is a really nice system with a large green band, all in orbit around a Type A dwarf star. Furthermore, it has jumps to Gurzel, Horus, Kepha, and Aeolus. And this has become sort of a natural place for trading with the Xi'an to really take place and kind of thrive, and you really come in and trade goods from deeper within the empire. It's worth noting, though, that the Xi'an really kind of have a strong border force, really preventing further travel into their homeworlds. And sure, you could probably end up trying to smuggle or sneak past them, but I'm not thinking that sounds like a great idea unless you know ahead of time there's some opportunistic Xi'an traders that are waiting for you once you get there. Now, the first three planets kind of are all just a little uninteresting overall, with Rihlah 1 being a rocky protoplanet that's really close to the star. Rihlah 2 is being kind of a puffy planet, which is sort of interesting because having a pseudo-gas giant this close to the star is a bizarre occurrence. However, based on that same proximity to the star, it makes it a really poor location for refueling. And Rihlah 3 is similar in size to Earth, however, it's got a really thin atmosphere, it's got a quick orbital period, and has a lot of jagged rock, meaning that this ended up being a really poor candidate for terraforming. Rihlah 4 is also known as Shurvu, and it's one of the planets that was terraformed with military purposes in mind. And there were a lot of barracks and facilities to train forces all over this planet, and numerous weapons factories and facilities to end up supplying these troops. Now, most of these factories have since been replaced with more traditional manufacturing to capitalize on the trading opportunities with the UEE. Now, this change is interesting, though, and it's something that it's just kind of a weird and cool sight to see, because instead of just using traditional factories that were already in place, they end up having these large machines that dismantle the factories and convert them back into their original materials for easier construction of a more specified type of factory. Now, Shurvu, it's seen this boom in Xi'an corporations moving into this planet to kind of help maximize their operational profits. And while the Xi'an are typically pretty restrictive to where humans can end up visiting, it's actually really encouraged for visitors to take in all that Shurvu has to offer, and you can really land at a place called Yadi. Now, this was all done because the Xi'an want their privacy elsewhere, and part of the reason we saw so many corporations move here was because the Xi'an government gave them tax breaks to come here to prevent further intrusions elsewhere in the Empire's space. Here you're going to be able to find all sorts of Xi'an goods, but most notably you're going to find the kind of MISC Xi'an hybrid operations like we see with a lot of the MISC ships, as well as AOPA, which is the manufacturer of the Carthual. Now, most of the employees here actually find themselves being humans that were hired by the Xi'an, though they are required to maintain all Xi'an customs when they're doing their operations. And for those of you that are interested in kind of mining and trading, Shurvu is a really good place to come and sell electronic goods, as well as heavy materials that you've dug up elsewhere, specifically metals, that are in high demand from all the manufacturers that operate in the system. Rihlah 5 is known as Z. And this natural super Earth is really about 3 times larger than Earth itself. It's a big planet. And the Xi'an are very naturally organized people. And this planet is kind of a testament to that. On the planet, you're going to find these large stacks of habitation units that, play host to over 100 billion Xi'an. And it's all very industrial and all very organized, with the exception of Korea, that is surrounded by rainforests. And if you're coming to Z to interact with the Xi'an as a human, this is typically where you're going to meet, because it's actually open to outsiders. And this is where you're going to find Xi'an, Banu, and Tevarin traders and shipmasters. This city is interesting because it plays host to many humans that have kind of ended up escaping the UEE, whether those be expatriates or criminals. And the UEE doesn't have any jurisdiction here, so many are here just for the fact that they can hide in plain sight. It's not a huge change to their daily lifestyle. And if you're interested in being a bounty hunter, you can very easily find profit here since the Xi'an typically don't meddle in the affairs of humans. So if you come here and end up committing a crime in the process of capturing somebody or just going through the normal bounty hunting routine, they typically just don't care because it's human on human crime. Now, if you do come here though, they advise don't leave this city. And while you probably technically could sneak to the other places, the Xi'an are definitely not friendly to outsiders, and intruding into their space may end up causing you unwanted harm. In addition, just getting there can be challenging, especially when you consider that there's many deadly plants and animals in the rainforest around the area, including the notorious Xi'an jump beast, which sounds terrifying. And the last planet, Rihlah 6, is really this far-out dwarf planet. It barely gets any light. There's no atmosphere here, there's no landing zones here, there's not a whole lot of minerals here, there's not much of interest, with the exception of the fact that there's a rumor that this planet is actually a giant booby trap, capable of setting off some crazy doomsday device capable of destroying the entire planet. Almost like an early warning system if the humans try to stage an attack from here. Though no one really knows how it works, so you could easily die trying to figure that out. Now, it's all rumor and hearsay at this point, but that doesn't mean it's not true either. So if you come to explore, do it at your own risk, but most likely there's probably nothing substantiated by that. I think this place is going to be a haven for traders. If you want to get involved with the Xi'an and really sell goods between the two empires, this is a great place to do it. And especially since we've already heard about the Banu and the Teverin being here, you may be able to really interact with all four of those types of empires in this one location. And I mentioned this place being a good place for bounty hunters, those of you in the audience that want to take on that type of lifestyle. But I think it's worth noting that on the flip side of that coin, that also probably means that if you want to conduct piracy or other dirty deeds, as long as you're only targeting humans, you're probably relatively safe to do that here. It sounds like the Xi'an are relatively hands-off, but if you end up messing with one of them, you might end up bringing the ferocity of their entire empire down on you. And for anyone that's interested in alien technology, this seems like a really good place to get up close, see it, and try and buy and sell and equip your ships as you see fit. So that's it for the Rihlah system. I think it's a really cool system. It's definitely going to be worth checking out, as it's going to be our primary location to interact with the Xi'an and kind of see what their worlds are all about. So if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for a whole lot more content, and I'll catch you guys later. Take care.